Today is our day. Americans going to the polls, casting ballots, making sure our voice is heard. This is Vote 2014.
Evening, everyone. This election night in 2014. I'm Aaron Cantrell.
And I'm Janetta Hendricks. Welcome to Vote 2014.
Tonight is the very beginning of our coverage throughout the night, featuring the latest in national, state, and local elections.
We'll bring you updates at the top of every hour, and then at 9 begins our full coverage. So keep it right here on MT10 all evening.
Even though today is Election Day, early voting has been going on throughout the month of October. However, in a report released this morning, Secretary of State Trey Hargett's office says early voting results are down across the state in every county. In Rutherford County, early voting turnout is down by over 2,000. Surrounding counties saw a drop as well, with Metro Nashville's turnout dropping by 6,000 and Williamson County seeing a slightly smaller drop of 1,000 voters. Now, the biggest decrease came in Shelby County, where Memphis voters dropped by 25,000. That will be a big hit for state Democrats that rely heavily on Shelby County vote.
Bill Ketron, Rick Womack, and Don White are all unopposed on the ballot tonight, so we can say with absolute certainty that they won an additional term. Ketron will take on his second term in the Tennessee State Senate. White will continue on to her third term as District 37 State House Representative, and Rick Womack will be the District 34 State House Representative for another term. Voters have been the ones who choose the judges for the Supreme Court and appellate courts for years, but this might change if Amendment 2 passes.
That's right. Vote 2014 reporter Jackson Jones hit the streets of Murfreesboro to see what voters think of Amendment 2.
It's the last day of early voting, and people are cramming into voting booths to cast their vote on important issues. One in particular can either give or take away voters the right to select judges for the Tennessee Supreme Court and appellate court judges.
I voted yes because I think it's by letting the people vote, it's more taking political stuff out of it. Like when you have a certain party in office and they can put their people in office and run that way. I think it's fair by having people vote for judges.
If Amendment 2 is passed, judges would first be chosen by the governor, followed by a two-thirds majority approval by both houses. This has made voters split on the decision whether to keep the politics in or out of the court chamber.
I didn't know that much about how judges were selected, and I didn't feel confident enough to vote yes when I didn't know that much about it.
I voted no. I would like the rights and to choose who the judges are and people to have the opportunity to vote for that.
Voters we talked to said they were open to the idea if election polls proved to be in the favor for yes, as long as the government does it right.
Just less control of our government by the people and for the people, and someone else making the decisions.
People run the politics, you know. It's a political thing as far as I can see, is that when they pick their own people in office, that they're voting their way instead of the people's way.
For Vote 2014, I'm Jackson Jones.
Thanks, Jackson. Amendment 2 has always let voters decide what judges they want, and it will be interesting if that changes.
Yeah, and we'll be sure to keep you updated on Amendment 2 polls throughout the night. Well, it's said that the only thing guaranteed in life is death and taxes. But if Amendment 3 passes tonight, it would prohibit a new type of tax in the volunteer state. Tennessee voters will decide tonight on Amendment 3, an amendment to the state constitution that prohibits a state income tax. Tennessee has never had a state income tax, and supporters of the amendment want it to stay that way. According to the MT poll released right here on campus, 30% of voters favor the amendment, 25% oppose, 24% don't know, and 20% refuse to answer or wouldn't vote on the amendment. Tennessee is one of the 9 states that does not have a state tax income.
Before rolling the dice on gambling, nonprofits have to bet on voters at the polls casting ballots for Amendment 4. This amendment will put in writing that 501c19 organizations that serve veterans are able to have lotteries. If the amendment passes, there will be guidelines that lawmakers have to put in place for one of the many forms of gambling that is legal. The earliest you could try your luck at gaming events would be on July of next year.
One of the most important races to watch tonight is the Amendment 1 campaign. It's a topic that has everyone talking, especially those involved in the Yes and No on 1 campaigns. MT10 News reporter Emily Kinzer talked to individuals on both sides of this dividing issue. Emily?
Yeah, and anyone you ask has a strong opinion about it. Amendment 1 is more than just proposed legislation. It's a chance to amend the Tennessee Constitution. But that doesn't come without strong feelings from both sides. For some, it's about ethics, privacy rights, or even personal experience.
Why are so many women traumatized? Why am I, all these many years later, still talking about it?
When you start taking away one right, what other issues and rights are you going to target next?
Contrary to popular belief, Amendment 1 only affects the Tennessee Constitution. This means allowing the state legislature to regulate how abortions are conducted, but some think that's going too far.
I also think that it's a woman's right to choose, and I don't think the government should intrude that closely.
We can do better in Tennessee, and taking away this right is not doing better.
While others think that's exactly what's needed.
We do want to have restrictions so that it's safe, and we do want to have restrictions so that we're not paying for abortions for every state around us.
So I think it's just basic medical protocol that if you care about women and their health and well-being, they should have all the information.
As Election Day draws near, groups are working hard to let you know why you should be voting yes or no.
If I can direct any woman or young girl away from that decision, I stand here to do that.
Getting out there and talking to people, trying to spread the word,
If I
collaborating
can
with
direct
different
any
organizations, which is
woman or
definitely
young girl
something that
away
we've
from
been
that
doing.
For
decision,
Myra Simons,
I
this
stand
amendment
here
hits
to do
very
that.
close to home.
I find myself just walking through the halls of that place. I can still remember how cold it was, that nobody seemed to really care. It was just very mechanical.
She believes women should have the right to information before getting an abortion.
These legislative measures protect the lives of women, their health, their well-being.
Myra says this could have saved her a lot of heartache more than 20 years ago.
If I had just been told that, hey, sweetie, there's people that care about you, you do not have to do this.
For Dana Tatum, she agrees that women need to be better educated on this, but she disagrees with how this amendment would do that.
Women do need to be educated on the risks that they take with abortions.
So whether it's issues of privacy,
Let's not write legislation that has sneaky passages in it that regard to women's health and women's birth control.
or issues of more control over a controversial practice.
I bought the lie, basically, from Planned Parenthood, that abortion, it's a quick 15-minute procedure and you get on with your life.
People on both sides are passionate in what has turned into be the most debated topic in this election cycle. Now, this amendment has brought people out to the polls who probably wouldn't be voting otherwise just because it is so controversial. Now, an MTSU poll earlier in the week showed that it is just too close to call on either sides for the yes or the no. So we may be going to bed before we know the results of this amendment. But we'll bring you live results as they come in tonight. Reporting live from the newsroom, I'm Emily Kinzer.
Thanks, Emily. Amendment 1 has gotten more political contributions on both sides than most of the other state races tonight. So that tells you how passionate both sides are about this amendment.
Now, our Vote 2014 election coverage isn't just on your television. We're pretty much everywhere.
Yes, we are. Between our website, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, we've definitely got you covered.
We even have interactive maps and updated Rutherford County election returns precincts by precinct.
And you can find it all on your home base or for election coverage, mt10news.com. Now, the polls close at 7, but some people will still be voting.
We're live at the Election Commission at the top of the hour. See you then.